Hello my friends, this is Black Halfton 8 here, and in today's video we are going to get into how to crew for your territory takeovers.
Finally.
Who said that? Hello my friends.
Live long and prosper.
Okay, so in this video we're finally going to talk about the crews that you use for your territory takeovers. And this one we're defending. If you look up here, we got 26 minutes left. This is a like tier 1, grade 1, whatever system. It's only a 30-minute long takeover. So what I've done on my battleships are really good to put on your capture nodes if you're going to put them there if you expect resistance. If nobody's going to show up, then you can do like we have a person over here that has a envoy, right? So you can put some sort of miner over there if you don't expect any resistance. Still, you might be wrong and you get smashed really quickly, but I put a heavy battleship, right now it's the Abortus, on a node because they're really slow anyways. You're not really going to chase anybody down. Speed is kind of key when it comes to this. But this can be a very heavy PvP situation. It's also really kind of about cat and mouse. You want to stay in that zone, earning points as long as possible. See, right now we're at +3 extra points a minute while we're on this node. What we've done is we have Carol as our captain. Her maneuvers, it's called Applied Science. When defending a battle against a player, Carol decreases the weapon damage from opponents by 40%. We're on a capture node. Somebody's going to attack us. It's going to immediately decrease their weapon damage by 40%, which is pretty fantastic. She also has her officer ability, Weapons Expert, going to increase our weapon damage by 20%. And then we also have Arium on there. Arium's got Cybernetic Tactician as the officer ability. So when defending on a capture node, which is exactly what we're doing at the start of each round, Arium has an 80% chance of burning the opponent for this round. So pretty high chance of causing burning. And then we follow that up with Kumak over here. He has Watch the World Burn as his officer ability. As long as the enemy ship is burning, Kumak increases the armor, shield deflection, and dodge of the ship by 50% at this. This is rank 2 Kumak. This is a really good ship to toss on a capture node. That's what battleships are really good for, because they're really slow. They're not going to chase people around the zone very good. So you kind of want to park them, if you expect heavy resistance, park them on a node with something really defensive and PvE focused. PvP focused. What? PvP focused. So this time, thank you for the comment that we got previously. We were just telling our people to get there, make sure that you're at the takeovers, but we weren't making sure that they were parked near a node. And then when it starts, hopping on a capture node so we can get more points. You see we got a couple that are still here. Trying to camp ahead of time is great, but camp near the node you plan on occupying and then hop on that node once it starts so that you can get the 3 points per minute, not 1 point per minute. That's just a little aside. This video is going to focus on crews, so let's get back to that. So then over here on the Vidar, which is not necessarily the best ship to do this on, an Explorer would be way better, not the Enterprise, because you don't want to put Spock in the Enterprise. But this is a max morale, really tanky build that we're using on this ship. This is going to be a ship to go chase down and actually engage in some combat. It's got some pretty good survivability because what we have is our captain is Bones. He has I'm a doctor, not a blah blah blah. McCoy gives a bonus of 42% to all the officer abilities of the officers on the bridge during combat. It's super great to have when you're in combat. 42% to all, including his own. So his own officer ability, of course, is Excellent Medicine. Every time the ship gets hit by a weapon attack, McCoy increases the defense of all the officers on the bridge by 20%. So himself, Spock, and Kirk in this instance are going to get their defense boosted by 20% cumulative every time that they get receive a hit in combat. Pretty great. Then we've got Spock, of course, over here. His officer ability, Illogical. When the ship has morale, Spock restores shield health to an amount equal to 100%. This is rank 3 Spock, not rank 4 yet, of the defense of the officers on the ship. So that's going to get more and more as the battle rages on, because your defense is getting higher. Fantastic there. I love it. And then, of course, we have Kirk over here. He's only rank 2 right now, but at the beginning of each round, Kirk has a 60% chance of inspiring morale to the ship for 2 rounds. So statistically, really good odds that we're almost always going to have morale, which means we're almost always going to be rebuilding that shield, which is why it's really good to have it on Explorer. Has a lot of shield. We've got it on the Vidar just to show you how that team works. So here we're going to get into a crew we've talked about multiple times. This is going to be a claw speed crew. We've got Kras on here and Vartuk, which is this is a somewhat viable PvP ship that I have right now. It can maybe do something in PvP in the domain that we're living in right now on this somewhat fresh server. Maybe this is going to do some good, but this is really about the speed, right? That's why Claw's here. That's why we have the other two on the bridge with him, is to get that maximum synergy bonus. He's going to get the increase 33% to the impulse speed. So that makes this ship here pretty fast. It doesn't look super fast, but relatively speaking, it's going to be pretty quick moving around this this area. be able to just stay alive and get points, and then be able to pick off anything that's kind of small whenever we need to do that. And of course, while we're talking about speed crews, we have our Pan Berserker speed crew here, Pan, Navi, Rima, fantastic. And in the middle, of course, this is max synergy, and we're going to get 50% increase to our impulse speed, and we slap that on a Rialta. Why a Rialta? Because it's just about ships being in zone. And this one, however, you can see the noticeable, ridiculous speed that it has. You can actually go look right now. The impulse on this thing is 225. It's so fast, it's insane. So not only is it fast, but it's extremely cheap to repair. So if somebody did happen to catch it for some reason, you just immediately hit the repair button and speed up because it's under 5 minutes, and it's right back out. This is great for tackling a big ship. So somebody can bring a huge big bad ship into the zone that can take everybody out if they want to. But that's what I like to have Rialtas, especially a couple of them up, to start trading off. And all you got to do is pin that thing in place. Yeah, they're going to earn points because they're there, but they're not going to be able to destroy any other ships. And that's what it's all about. It's about your ships being in zone in a higher quantity than the opponent. You're going to have more points to win. So you want to be on your capture nodes. You want to keep them from being able to bump you off the capture nodes. They can't do that if you keep them pinned in place with a bunch of Rialtas or Fortunates, but Fortunates aren't fast enough. Rialtas with speed crews, especially the Pan version of the speed crew, can really pin in some of these big ships that are on your server that everybody's afraid of. And the last specific crew that I really want to get into when it comes to this discussion on your territory takeover crews is not even really a crew. It's a single officer that you want to have as captain. This is a crew that I end up using with him, but this is going to be Vemit. Vemit is amazing, especially if you got to pull it off right. To lose your shield first, and then in a subsequent attack during the same battle. So it can't be one hit that blows away your shield and kills you. Your shield has to fall, and then in the same battle, you have to be killed, essentially. And then your ship will come back with, at this case, because we have a little bit of synergy with Vela there, we heal with 7% of the whole health and the ship survives. So this one's really kind of annoying for other people. They might not see it coming if they're just clicking on a ship to go. I put Vela on here and 7 to 10 because I'm stacking my health down below to increase the size of my hull, so that's a bigger total quantity, because 7% of 145,000 is not fantastic, but it's going to keep me back up if I'm just getting chipped away at or something. It might keep me in that zone a lot longer. The gist of it is that somebody can attack you, think that you're done, go move on to another target, they'll kill you, right, because you'll die, but you'll come back immediately with 7% whole health, and you can continue running and you can keep earning points. That's the name of the game. Vemit's great for this. So that wraps up our specific crews that we're really going to talk about here. I'm not going to talk about crewing the Discovery, because you're really going to just use that like you would any other time that you're going to Uber a bunch of ships in. You're either going to want to go speed, I guess you could toss on there if you don't care about the efficiency and you have a bunch saved up, so that you can move that Uber away from the enemy ships really quickly to go just drop a bunch of ships in there. I guess you could run a speed crew. Otherwise, you're just going to use the same efficiency crew that you'd usually use on the Discovery to continue to drop ships in there. Expect to be the priority target if you have a Discovery on either side when it comes to a takeover. And then, of course, you got the Sarcophagus, which is made for this. It's a really, really slow ship, so if you are against one, kill it before it makes it to a capture node. It's all about capture nodes. It's fighting on a capture node, whether it already occupied it or it's trying to occupy it. That's what it does, and it's really hard to dislodge once it gets there. If you see a Sarcophagus, destroy it. If you own a Sarcophagus, you probably know a lot about the game because they're not cheap to come by, and you probably know how to crew that. And the reason we're not going to get into any other crews is because the rest of this is PvP, right? So whatever PvP crew works best for you, try things out. There's so many variables that come into PvP in this game, whether that's your research or how lucky you are and what factions you chose to go for first, so you have higher ranked officers there. It's really going to come down to your officers, what ships you chose, what research you have favored. It's PvP, so you're going to want to go ahead and use your best PvP crews with the other ones that we've shown you in this video to help complement, and it'd be the right mix of running away to keep ships in there and 1 or 2 heavy PvP ships so that you can destroy other people's ships and keep them out so they're not earning points, right? Makes sense? It's all about points when it comes to your takeovers. That being said, share your best crews that have worked for you. It's really hard to come up with a lot of territory crews because it's like the secret sauce. A lot of people don't want to share it, but that's what I've come up with in my research and testing. So whatever you've used, I'm sure there's a lot of people that visit this channel that have done a lot of territory takeovers and could really help with what an Ops 30 or below really player would use when it comes to takeovers. But This is stuff to kind of get you started. If you're not sure what's going on, or if maybe you're on a more mature server, but you want to take your territory gameplay to another level, here's some tips to help you with that. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Live long and prosper. We'll catch you next time. Hey, we hope you liked the video. Like, comment, subscribe, all the usual jazz helps us grow the channel. But we do have a direct method to support the channel down below in the PayPal description. But all the indirect methods are perfectly fine for us. Share it with other people you think might get some value out of it, help them grow, those alliance mates, server mates that you care for, and your real life friends, so maybe they'll come join us in this awesome game that we all love. Thank you very much for being here. We really appreciate it. Live long and prosper, and we'll catch you next time.